Hi, I'm James Hamilton from Stumpy Nubs Woodworking Journal, and today I think you're going to learn something new about cleaning your saw blades. How often do you clean your table saw blade? A lot of weekend woodworkers don't clean it often enough. They use a lot of pine and resinous wood like that, and it builds up on the teeth. You can actually see it. They just look gunky and dirty. And so the blade doesn't cut as well. It burns, it leaves a rougher cut, it's harder to push the wood through, and they wonder what the problem is. Well, it's not that you need a new blade, you just need to clean it. So here's how I do it. I do things mostly like everybody else, but there's a couple of things I do differently that I think you'll appreciate. First of all, I use this for a tray. This is a 5-gallon bucket lid. You can buy these in hardware stores and home centers. Usually they come with the bucket, but the lid itself is an excellent tray for this purpose because it has a rim around the outside which will contain the liquid. It's just the right size for your saw blade, and there's a little dimple in the center where it's lower, and that allows you to put your finger through the blade and set it down and then pick it up again from the center. If this was just laying flat in a regular tray, some people use baking sheets, things like that, you'd have to grab on the sharp teeth to try to lift it up. Much less convenient. So that's why I like these lids, plus they're cheap. So I got my lid, now I need my cleaner. And if you go on the internet, you're gonna find all kinds of recommendations for cleaners. And frankly, I think most of them are just too aggressive. There's really no reason to use something like oven cleaner, which is gonna be harmful to your blade, by the way, or anything that's gonna damage your skin. If I have to wear gloves and keep it off my hands, I'm not gonna do it, because there's other options out there that I don't have to worry about that, or I don't have to worry about where I dump it out. I can just put it down the sink. That's the kind of cleaner I want. So I use the Trend Bitten blade cleaner. Trend has been a sponsor for a while, but I've used this for years before I even knew the folks over at Trend, because it is non-toxic. So it's not gonna hurt my hands. I don't have to worry about disposing of it. And it's a really good value. The size of the bottle for the price is a lot better than the other commercial blade cleaners out there. If you don't want to buy something, there are some other homemade options out there. I suppose you still have to buy it, but it might be things that you already have. Simple Green Cleaner, that's an all-natural cleanser that you can find in most grocery stores. I've also heard of people using liquid laundry detergent. They mix it 50-50, like Tide. Mix it 50-50 with water and use that. And that seems to be pretty effective too. Maybe not as quick as the Trend, but it'll do the job and it won't hurt you. So I've got my blade in my tray, got my cleaner. I'm gonna spray each tooth, flip the blade, get the other side, and now I'm gonna let it sit. Not long enough that it's going to dry out, but I want it to have time to start to loosen up that gunk. Then I'll take a brush. This is just a stiff bristle nylon brush. I don't wanna use something really hard like stainless steel because maybe that'll hurt the teeth, the carbide teeth on my blade. So brass would be okay, or nylon, and I just scrub each tooth. With a good cleaner, it shouldn't take much scrubbing. Wipe it off, and then you can see, just by looking at it, if it's still dark and you need to do it again. Get that blade nice and clean, and it's ready to go back in the saw, and it's gonna cut much better. So how often do you have to clean your blade? Well, as you're working with the saw, you start to get a feel for how much pressure it takes to push the wood through the blade. So if it's taking more pressure, or if you're getting burning, or if you're getting a lot of blade marks, take your blade out and clean it. That'll probably solve the problem for you. If it doesn't solve the problem, after 2, 3, 4 cleanings, then it's time to send it in to get sharpened. And here's a final tip. Where do you get your blade sharpened? It used to be that there were a lot of people locally doing blade sharpening you could take it to, but I'm finding that a lot of people don't have a local place that'll sharpen a saw blade, certainly not one that they would trust with their expensive saw blades. So you're gonna have to send it out for sharpening through the mail. And I send mine to Ridge Carbide, and I think you should too, because they do an excellent job. They will do anybody's blade, not just their blades. In fact, I'll put a link below this video with a discount code so you can get 10% off on the blade sharpenings. You mail it to them, they sharpen it, they mail it back to you, and you're ready to go. For more great tips, tricks, and tutorials designed to make you a better woodworker, check out the latest issue of Stumpy Nubs Woodworking Journal. You can read and subscribe to it for free at stumpynubs.com.